Have you ever wondered if your salary is enough to afford a home here in Roseville, California? We're gonna break it down right now with real numbers. I'm Kyle Butterfield. I'm a mortgage broker here in the Sacramento area, helping first-time home buyers know exactly how much it takes to afford a home in these areas. Today, we're gonna break down how much you actually need and what it costs a month to live in Roseville. Roseville is a hot place, very competitive markets, but they're definitely stable and they can vary a lot. The average home price here in Roseville is $650,000. That doesn't mean every home sells for $650,000. There's definitely places in Roseville that you can find for $500,000, maybe even $450,000, but you're probably looking at a smaller home. Versus there's probably some places in Roseville that you can find for $800,000 or $900,000. So we're gonna look at both ends, but let's talk about the median home price, which is $650,000. Now, a lot of people think that you need to put down 20% to buy that home. Even though these homes are kind of a substantial price, you can even get into these homes at 3.5% or 5% as a first-time home buyer. Now, if you do put that much down, you will have PMI, private mortgage insurance. That's not as big of a deal as you might think. Some people think it might be $500 or $700 extra dollars a month. It's not. PMI can range anywhere from $300 to $100 each month. That's at the current market price. So if we take our $650,000 example, if you want to put 20% down, you're going to need $120,000. And that's not including what you have to pay in closing costs. With an FHA loan, you can get in for 3.5% as a first-time home buyer. What's cool about that is you can get into that home for less than $25,000 of a down payment. You will still have closing costs to pay for, but that's substantially less, almost $100,000. It will change how much your monthly payment is, but you don't need a ginormous savings to buy a home. That's a savings of $100,000. What's cool is you don't need a ginormous savings to buy your home. Here's a monthly payment breakdown. Everything that goes into the mortgage payment. It's not just principal and interest. You've also got your insurance, you've got your taxes. Sometimes you even have Mellore's, which we'll talk about later. Based on this home price and the interest rates at this current time, you could expect to pay somewhere around $2,800 to $3,200 a month in principal and interest. That's not all that goes into it, right? We just talked about we need taxes and insurance as well. Taxes and insurance can cost you another $300 to $400 a month. Now, after taxes and insurance, you also have to check and make sure that the home you're looking at doesn't have Mellore's. Mellore's is another additional tax that bumps your property tax rate, and it can sometimes bump it as much as $200 to $400 a month. You also have to add in from there HOA. If you have a homeowners association, there's usually dues associated with that monthly, and those have to go into your monthly payment as well. So now that brings that monthly payment to $3,500 a month, plus or minus, depending on certain factors. So now that we know the monthly payment, how do we find out if our income's enough? Well, here's how we do it. A simple ratio. If you take that monthly payment that you're looking at and you divide it by 0.3 or 0.4, depending on what mortgage broker you work with, it's gonna be somewhere around 30 to 40% of your income, your monthly payment's gonna be allowed to be, depending on also how much debt you have. So if we take that monthly payment of $3,500 and we divide it by 0.3, that number is how much gross before taxes you need to make a month to qualify. And if you want to know how much that breaks down in your salary a year, you times it by 12. So if we look at that 30% example, 30% is right around $11,000. And if you times that by 12, you're looking at about $140,000 a year that you need to make to afford that home. I do have a calculator on a website I've built for you that you can play around with the numbers, no obligation to you, and you can play around with how much the monthly payment's gonna be, and then do the calculation yourself to find out how much you need to make every month for this to be a feasible spot for you. Now, the other option is we could take this monthly payment of $3,500 and divide it by 0.4, so 40% of your total gross income. That gets us to a number where your salary would need to be about $105,000 a year to afford this home. You're probably stretching your payment out a little more. You would not be able to have as many debts. You would have to have a great credit score, because what you have to remember is they do not just look at the monthly payment. You also have a second ratio looking at your total debt that you have compared to your monthly income. And we'll go over that in another video. So to recap, you can get into this home with a salary of $100,000 to $150,000, depending on how much you want to put down, how big you want that payment to be, and do you have any more debts. The goal here is to be comfortable. So you want to make sure that you break down your budget and find out where every everything is going each month so you know what you can comfortably afford. So if you make less than $140,000 a year and you want to keep that ratio at 30%, you're gonna need to look at a cheaper house than $650,000. Luckily, there's plenty of homes, plenty of areas. If you work with the right real estate agent, they can show you those places in your price point. Don't just look at Zillow estimates, it's not the same. I'd be happy to set you up with somebody. If you have any questions, please let me know. Here's a reason why you wanna be conservative. There are hidden costs and things can go up. Your insurance can go up yearly, so can your HOA dues. They don't always increase. You wanna be comfortable enough that if you do have an increase, it doesn't hurt you financially. The last thing you wanna make sure is you have enough money for repairs. You don't have a landlord anymore, so you have to do those yourself, which is an exciting thing, but it's also an expensive thing depending on the home you buy. Make sure you get a home inspection done so you don't have any surprise costs when you jump into that house. You want to make sure you know exactly what you're jumping into and how much you think you're going to need to pay for repairs. I would set aside a small budget each month, maybe $100 to $200. You might not use it every month, but as that little account builds, you never know when something's going to go out and you need to replace it. Here's the main takeaways. You can buy a house in Roseville for a wide range, but our median price is $650,000. A comfortable amount to make would be $150,000 in a household to afford a house here. You don't need to put 20% down. You can put as little as 3.5% if you're a first-time home buyer. If you are making less than $150,000, it doesn't mean you can't afford Roseville. It just means you have to look in certain areas. You have to work with the right mortgage broker that can get you to that maybe 40%. You really need to take care of your debts. If you're serious about buying a home, talk to a mortgage broker so they can create a plan for you to buy this home in the right way. If you have any questions or concerns, my contact information is going to be in the description below. Reach out to me. I would love to help you out. Please like and subscribe. This helps grow my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.